Hello and welcome back, guys and girls. It's been a long time since I've recorded, and I want to start off by saying two different things. The first thing I want to mention is I'm sorry that it's been a while. There has been a few complications. I lost my recording devices, so therefore I've been unable to record unless I used a webcam, and as a result I didn't think it would sound at all that good. And the second thing I want to mention is I wish the best to Michael Schumacher and his family. I think we all do. And I hope that he makes a full and good recovery as a result of, as a result of being taken good care of. And I want to thank all the fans that are supporting him, because he used to be a bit of a hero when I was younger. Maybe not one of my favourites, but you know, we all wish the best, and hopefully we'll see him back soon. Right, let's start off thinking about F1, what's going through my head at the moment. And first of all, for me, it's not having Mark Webber anymore. That is what I think of first when I think of F1 2014. No more Mark Webber. And who am I going to support? And so on. I'm going to miss Mark Webber very dearly. He was a huge inspiration to me in my life, and especially Australia 2001 or 2002 was a huge defining moment for me, and it made me who I am a bit in some ways. So I'm going to miss him, and I'm going to be a bit stuck as to who I'm going to support for next season. I think I am going to support Ricciardo, of course, and obviously the Brits, who are going to be on track. Otherwise, it would have been Paul di Resta, but he's not there anymore, so unfortunately he got screwed over, and now I don't really have much choice as to who I want or who I can support. Right, so that's what's going through my mind about F1 2014 at the moment. Let's have a quick flick through the news and see what's going on and talk about what's happening. First of all, they talk about Mercedes and Renault and the battle between the two engines and suppliers, and Ferrari of course are in there as well, but Mercedes have been told, or people believe, that they will be the favourite. I think this is the possibility too, assuming, well, Renault engines and Red Bull are having big issues at the moment. So does this mean that they won't be as quick or as strong as they were last 4 years? I don't know. I assume that they are likely to solve their issues before, well, maybe not in Australia, but probably within 3 Grand Prix they should probably up and running, I'd imagine. And Ricciardo obviously feels the same, as he said in interviews. But as a result, I still think, say 3 races onwards to the 20th race, they may have 1 or 2 engine failures throughout the year. That is what I'm sort of predicting to happen. So otherwise, I think Mercedes are favourite. They look the strongest, but you never know. We might see a new Williams, and they might push forward. They might be rejuvenated, and we might see them back at the front like the good old times, which is something I'm looking forward to if that happens, because they are my favourite team on the grid. So that's good. We're still waiting for the Renault to come out. I don't know how they will do. As to think whether they will be strong, I think they might take a step backwards in 2014. Unfortunately, it would have been nice to see. Well, actually, I don't really care much about Grosjean or Maldonado, so hopefully they might look bad and get dropped. But that's my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. What else can we talk about? Ferrari. They're making steady progress. They're being quiet. So does this mean that they're going to be that good into the next year? I think they will be second best. Shut up, cat. Shh. There we go. I think that they will be second best at most behind Mercedes. But that's my opinion. Force India, whether we can see teams like Force India and who else? Sauber take a step forward. I don't know. I think there is an opportunity, but we have said that in the past, in 2009, when the rules changed and so on. So whether they will take a step forward and become podium potential drivers or team, I honestly don't know. I think they could if, say, there was maybe in Australia there was a few engine failures here and there. You might end up seeing one of them on top of the podium. As for Marussia and Caterham at the back, will they take a step forward? I could see Marussia taking a step forward all of a sudden. Caterham, however, I just don't see anything happening. Unfortunately, there isn't anything big that is happening there, and the car it doesn't seem that quick either. So if anyone is to score points, I think it will be Marussia, but I'm not too sure whether anyone will. I think McLaren will be strong as well. I forgot about McLaren. I think it will be between Mercedes and McLaren for the title, with Ferrari just behind and Red Bull probably going to catch them up towards the end of the season. That is my prediction. Let's move on to a new subject, and that is double points, which I think is absurd and why I think it's absurd. It's not. I could obviously complain it's absurd because it's just not right, like a lot of people would say who are fans and so on, which is part of what I feel. But the other part of me feels that it's just kind of pointless. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the fact that there is a car that's going to be the fastest car is likely to win, and I think it just can spoil someone's effort. It's not really equal until it should be equal to the last race, and if you have unequal opportunity or something, and all of a sudden the driver happens to win the race because of rain or whatever, it doesn't really make it fair, the fact that he's getting double points. I just don't think it's an equal opportunity between the drivers, and I don't like it. And I also think, along with DRS and KERS, I still think it's a bit of a, pull the wool over your eyes, as they say. It's just a cover up to say that overtaking is happening. They can say that all this is happening in the stats, that there's 30% more increase in overtaking throughout the year. But to be honest, it's a majority of it's fake. I think you could probably adjust DRS or DRS, KERS and DRS, and who cares, to make it a little bit better. I think KERS, you should have it limited throughout the race. You can only use a percentage of it throughout the race. So you would say have 10 seconds of KERS per battery. So if you use that 10, and you can use it 10 times, and there should be an interval between it, I think that could make it more interesting and more tactical throughout the race. For DRS, for me, is another cover-up. I don't think it's too bad. I think it should be adjusted so that there is a speed difference between it and the car that's attempting to overtake the car in front. There should be a speed difference. Say there's a 3 mile per hour speed difference, 4 miles per hour. It should close automatically. And then I think we'd see it less overpowering. when we see the big long straights such as Bahrain or Austin, Texas, and so on, I think it would sort of minimize people just streaming past and getting through easily. Excuse me, I'm having coffee while I'm doing this. So yeah, but I'm still looking forward to 2014. I think there will be a bit of a change. It's not necessarily a bad change. I didn't like it to start off with, but nonetheless, I think that we can come into the new season and it will be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably be wrong, and it'll probably be boring, but fingers crossed that all the new changes will make it interesting. What else is happening in the week in the news? Obviously, Kobayashi is back, which I am happy to hear. I think he got kicked out of F1 unfairly. So as Paul di Resta got kicked out unfairly as well. We could talk about paid drivers, but I think it's not really something that can be solved unless we have more teams. I think that is literally the only way around it. We can never remove paid drivers. So, but in saying having more teams oh, pardon me, I'm burping now. Doesn't mean it's gonna. Oh, jeez. Doesn't mean it's gonna fix it. So, like, I don't think many drivers would be interested if we had, 15 more teams, but they were all back runners and never scoring points. So we could do with a few more teams. We need more midfielders and front runners, so we should try and get actual teams like a manufacturer. So we should see like BMW, Honda, or Audi in the sport. I think they're in some way they should be aiming for trying to get companies like that in the sport, because I say that because they're likely the only sort of team or people or company that will be able to fund and have the resources pumped into their team that will make them viable winners and competitors. But we could also do with a couple of actual race teams. So by that I mean obviously teams in America coming over, such as the new NASCAR team. They would be good on the sport, but they would be good because they could be a realistic midfield team, hopefully. So that's what the sport could do with a couple of things like that in teams. But there's no point having, obviously, a HRT again or Team of America. That never happened. Team America, fuck yeah! But so teams based around their nationality propaganda, I don't think it would work, unfortunately. But there is an opportunity for manufacturers now to actually get in the sport and to do successfully. But that's what I think. That's the only way around having paid drivers, having more teams in the sport that are decent, that will want to have drivers that will be point scorers as well as, bringing a bit of money. So that's my opinion on that. What else could we talk about? I had something. Oh, the new noses. People, how could I forget? The new noses. Right, let's talk about them. Obviously, a lot of controversy. Some look like a pair of tweezers. Others look like some sort of sex aid. And others look like some sort of household appliance. But, I think it's something you have to get used to. Something a bit like the step noses. We're all complaining about them, but we got used to them in the end, didn't we? Okay, they might look a bit worse than they usually do, and to be honest, I can imagine that the F1 FIA can implement some sort of rule to obviously get rid of it. So, for example, you could say that the front nose cone of the car can go no further than not or can't go further than the front wing, or has on the front wing of the car, and thus it would have to stop at a certain point on the front wing rather than stick out, and rather than say having some sort of long pole sticking towards the front nose cone, you could stick it under some sort of excruciating weight. So therefore it would have to be reinforced. Thus, you might have to make it bigger, maybe. Okay, I'm not entirely sure because I'm not some sort of architect, but that's what I'm thinking along the lines of. Thank you. But otherwise, I don't really know what else to talk about. This episode is a bit of a catch up. So I'm looking forward to it, the new season. I hope that all you guys and girls are looking forward to it too, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it should be a good season. And I will speak to you soon. It's been a while, and hopefully I can make some other episodes. You should check out my blog while you're listening to me, if you are still listening to me, at www.jamracingf1.wordpress.com. There's a few posts on there. I'm starting up a new thing that involves F1 Sim League, which is basically I'm trying to be a bit of stylizing my writing around as if I was a journalist for the sport, and trying to make the league feel a bit more, real, or give a bit more of an experience, as if you are a real driver racing in that, because not everyone gets the opportunity to be a real driver, so they have to pick up a simulator like R Factor, like I do, and therefore that's why I'm doing this, to make it a bit more fun for people who are in the league, as well as for people who may be spectating the league. Hopefully I could bring some highlight videos, but you never know. Anyway, check out my blog, follow me on Twitter at JamRacingF1, and like my Facebook page, which should all be linked below. And in the meantime, I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.